Hello everyone, welcome to part 2 of the first year in the valley. At the end of the last video we got to the third day of spring on a wet and miserable day. There was a few hours daylight left after I finished the video, so I was able to do a few other bits and pieces pending for this new video. Before we start though, I wanted to show you the pause menu and where there is a photo mode. If you click on the photo mode and enter camera mode, which is C at the bottom here, you can actually view your village from above or below. So you can see at the moment there's my house, and in the distance there is the food resource shed and the village of Gostovia further along the road. Now, one of the things I want to talk about this time was relating to the types of buildings that are available to you as you go through. Now, there is no right or wrong way to build a specific type of building, and it's down to you and how you want to proceed. So if we go into, for example, the technology screen, we've already seen this screen whereby the points you gain will give you the buildings that are available to you, and those are the ones in green. So you can see here on the farming technology, we have access to the farm food storage, the barn, and the farm shed. These points increase the more you use the farm, or if you're breeding animals. So for example, when you get to the hens and the pigs and the donkeys, and they start breeding, or if you decide to build bigger fields for your farm, then these points will grow. And as you can see, as you go down through the menu, what becomes available, and on the left hand side is the points that are available to get to that area. So for example, to help travel long distances, a donkey is the first port of call, and that is available at 250 technology points, whereas the stable is 2000, so it's quite a way further down the line. If you go into the survival mode, then you can see we have got a hunting lodge, which means we're able to now hunt for meat and feathers and fur and leather. And again, this is where you can set your own villages to do the work for you. You've got production technology, which means again you get a workshop, which is soon to be available. It's 8.9 points, so we're not far away. And here you can make bowls ready for your food at a later time. And of course then we finally have what we call extraction, which is the items for things like your wood. For example, the excavation shed is for your stone, your clay, and so on, and limestone. Okay. Although these seem far away, once you start constructing more buildings or do more crafting or cutting down trees or mining for ore, this won't take long to increase. And as you can tell, quite early on we do get a few that come on quickly. Now I'm just going to move over to the skills, because we had a skill overnight as well, and it's the survival skill, so it's given us 2 points this time to allocate, and I'm going to finish off the experience on survival knowledge. That means that we've got the maximum we can do with that, but it does mean we get 15% more experience for any activity we do, whether for survival, and that is gathering berries and plants and just generally surviving out in the wilderness. Okay, so in front of you you will see that I've gathered some logs from yesterday. Now, because they are too heavy to carry in one kind of load, you can drop bits and pieces of them. So for example, here you've got 6 logs, and then 8, and then another 8, and then another 4, and there's also some stone here as well. Now I did this in lieu of building a barn. The reason why I'm looking to build the barn is so that you can create fertilizer for your fields on the farm, and also use it to thresh like wheat and rye and oat to make grain, and then obviously move it into flour for your bread, for food. So again, it's one of the primary buildings that I was looking to do early on, especially rather than paying for your fertilizer. at the vendors in town. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build the barn over here, and I will be back shortly when the barn is completed. Welcome back. Here is the fully completed barn, and as you can see from the inside, we have got various stations. So you have the thresher station, which is where the wheat, oat and rye is threshed into grain. This is where the grain is then can turn into flour. So for example here, at the moment we haven't unlocked the schemes, and I'll talk about unlocking the schemes later. But basically when you get your wheat grain from the fields, then you can then turn it into flour, which you can then turn it into bread through the kitchen, which again we've not yet got. This is the area where you create your fertilizer, and the main area to begin with fertilizer is what we call rot, which is this bit here. Okay, now the general idea to save money on purchasing fertilizer is to grow your own rots to begin with. Eventually fertilizer will be used by manure from your animals, and what we need to do is to create, or build rather, we need to build a compost bin. This is one option. The other option is just to chuck the food on the floor and it will rot overnight. You may recall from the last video that with the food being in the food storage, it lasts longer than if it was out in your person or in a house or just an ordinary building. And this is again an option whereby you can get old food and just dump it on the floor in the barn. But I like to build a compost bin. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the compost bin, the building, and one compost bin, and I like to put down by the side of the barn. If we open it up, you can see here that it gives you the option to transfer items from your inventory into the compost bin, which then at season's end will then turn to rot. Now it is season's end, so any time during, say, spring where we are now, you can put your old food in there, and then in summer, which will be the next day for us, it will be rot and then we can use. Now, a good way to work out how much you need is based on the number of tiles you're using. Now, we're currently using 20 tiles on the farm field, although we have scope of 50. It takes 10 rot to make one fertilizer. So if I wanted to build 50 fertilizer to have in stock, then I would need 500 rot. Now, one of the quickest things early on is to gather berries. In the spring, they are unripe berries. So you can see we're just moving along here now. So if you try to eat these, they are poisonous. So let me just open up the inventory and I will show you what I mean. Unripe berry, if you click on it, 20% poisoning. So you ate 5 of them and you're pretty much on the floor. So the whole idea is to just gather them up, don't eat them, and put them into the compost bin. Now again, you can see the top left hand corner, you can see how many that we're actually picking up. Now you're probably asking me, how do I know where they all are? Because I've worked on this map before, I've got a good idea of where the berries are so that we can collect them. However, as time goes on, when you start doing it yourself, you will know where to collect the berries from just by doing it every year. So there's a batch over here, and now remember, every so often, once you finish collecting your berries, you can only carry a certain amount, otherwise you become encumbered, and then, again, like with the wood, you'll not be able to move. But once the icon starts to appear on the left hand side of the screen, this is when I will be looking to move this into the compost bin. Now, so far we've got 134 berries, which gives us about 13 fertilizer once it's converted. So we'll just keep collecting for now. There is another across the water. I'm just going to drink some water while we cross over it. That's good. So I believe over here there's a big patch. Yes, there we go. I think the primary today is to gather as much as the 20 that we have in place. It does take a little while, and eventually this is one of the things you can get one of your villagers to do via the herbalist hut once you've got your villagers in place. I think just do a couple more bushes. I think they were over here. No. Okay, well, so we'll call it a day on that for now, and then we'll just go across the river. So I'd like to do a few other bits and pieces before the day ends. Now, one of the elements that people do ask is, how did I know how many wood, or logs rather should I say, sticks, stones and straw I needed to build the barn? Now, online there is it's a type of Wikipedia, but it's called Fandom Wiki for Medieval Dynasty. So if you go on to the internet, just type in Medieval Dynasty and say buildings, you will get access to this Fandom Wiki, and it will tell you everything you need to know about what Medieval Dynasty is all about, including any quests, what buildings are, what they need to build them. So, for example, how many logs, how many stones, so things like your houses as well. And it will help you find out items that you don't already know. Right, now I think we're getting close to, not far off 500. I think what we'll do, we'll get to 400 and then we'll call it a day. This one, so I'll just give me a few more moments while we just collect these up. Especially as it's telling me now that I'm starting to carry too much, so we will be literally just too heavy. Right, yeah, so okay, so we'll call that bit now and get back to the compost. So again, we will literally just dump it in the compost bin. We're going to just dump it in the compost bin, and then next season it will be all done. There we go. So that's all that I've done with that for now. Okay, right, now just a couple of other things while we're talking about buildings. In the general map, or the management map should I say, you have a limit to how many buildings that you can do. So for example, at the moment you can only do 5 buildings, of which we've built 3. That's the barn, the house and also the food storage. You get more buildings as you level up, and a lot of the time this is through the quests. So if you go to the quest, you quite often then will increase the limit you can build. Obviously, if you don't do the quests, you will then be stuck on the number of buildings that you can get to. Now we're going to try and make some more money, so I'm going to try and build some more stone knives. There we go. I think I can build hardly any. That's because I've dropped some stone. There we go. Here's over here. That's fine. And a load of sticks as well. Alright. So we can build another 11 knives. And I'm going to take them into town and to sell them. Okay. As you can see, by doing crafting those materials into the knives, we've now unlocked the workshop, which will be a benefit. Just going to get some food while I'm at it. Let's just eat that food. There we go. So let's go on into town and sell our wares.
How are you? Best goods in the valley.
Right. Sell some more feathers at the same time. There we go.
Have a good day.
Okay, so what I've done just then, I went a bit downtime to take off the voice settings, so whenever you see a vendor, they will no longer speak to you apart from in text. It makes it a little bit easier when I'm trying to speak on that basis. Okay, so let's head on back down. Okay, so now I'm going to build another building now. This building is the workshop that we've just been given access to. And the reason why is that with the workshop you can build things like plates, bowls, buckets, and eventually things like vases and wicker baskets and so on. But for now we are just going to put in the building. It comes under production, I believe. There he is, right down the bottom there. Okay, so we need some stone. So I'll be back in a moment, so hopefully a completed building. Okay, so here we are, one completed workshop. Now we just go in and have a little look around. Eventually on workshop level 2 you'll see there will be a potter's wheel sitting here. At the moment obviously it's the basics, so we don't have that at the moment. Each building, remember when it opens, does have its own storage chest. However, when we need to use items, so for example when your villages start to become part of your workforce, anything they need needs to come from the resource sheds, whether that's the food or the resource shed itself. Now the workbench here gives you options, as we've said, for wicker or vases. If we go to wicker first of all, we've got things such as wicker baskets, we go around, with crates, buckets, wooden vials, bowls, plates and so on. Now each one needs to unlock at a scheme, and depending on your technology level is whether the scheme is able to be purchased. So for example, wooden wheels, we've nowhere near got enough production technology at the moment. We've only got 15 technology and we need 3,500, so it's going to take a little while to get to that. However, everything else in this list, apart from the larger wicker items, can be unlocked for a price. So again, things like the torch is already open, but you can unlock the ladle, the bowl, the vial and the bucket. Now, as you can see here, one log will make 5 bowls. Each bowl, if you buy it, is about 4 coins. So selling it, you get about half, so it's 2. Now, I always say if you are going to unlock a scheme, build enough then to repay yourself. So it's going to cost 100 coins to unlock this scheme. My first target straight away is to actually be able to recoup that back pretty much straight away. So that's going to need a lot of logs. So again, let's just do buy the scheme. So I'm going to chop down a whole load of logs, and then I'll be back shortly to show how it's been done. Okay, so welcome back. We're getting to the point that it's now about 8 o'clock in the evening, so it's getting dark. So we've managed to gather a whole load more logs, and now I'm going to make some bowls. So it says 25, but that's 25 times 5, so it's 125 bowls. Now we won't have time to sell them in this particular day, purely on the grounds being is that they've all gone back to their houses and beds, and so to speak, so there'll be no one to sell to. So what we're going to do now is we're going to head on over. I'm going to drop because I'm carrying too much, I'm going to drop them down on the floor for now, and then I'll pick them up again in the morning. The summer season is just about to start. Now you'll also notice in the bottom left hand corner that I'm virtually out of health and very close to out of water. one of the nice things about this, when you get to the end of the season, when you get to bed, which I'm going to go now, when you go to bed, and you go to next season, and you wake up in the new season, and the first thing that you'll see in the top bottom left-hand corner is that all my health and that is restored. So you don't need to eat anything on the last day as long as you can get to the end of the day. Okay, there's a couple of new quests that have come up because I've lasted the season. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go and take these into town. We'll probably have to do 2 trips because I don't have enough. Let's just see, there it goes. That's going to be quite slow, so I'm going to drop half of them here, run into town, and then come back and pick up the other half when I'm there. So here we go. Now, at this time in the morning, there'll be nobody about, so I'm just going to put them in by the side of the tavern and then wait for the innkeeper to arrive. With all vendors, you will find that their stocks replenish and change as the season changes. So whatever money that they had left before will be reset back to their normal limit. So I think for the innkeeper is 2,500 coins. Some of the others are like 1,000 or 1,500. So even if you drain them dry during, say, spring, by summer, they're back with the money again. So you can then do all the same thing again. So let's just drop these here. And then go and get the rest. Now, conscious of the fact that the last video was nearly an hour, I'm going to be keeping these down to about half an hour each time. Also, when we get into town, whilst we're waiting for the innkeeper to arrive, or any of the vendors to arrive, I'm going to have a quick chat with Unigost again, as that's the next quest. So we'll just drop that down there. And then we'll just go in to find where he is. Now, as I said before on the map, the main task is highlighted by a bright yellow exclamation mark. Now, if you follow the heads-up compass, you should be able to see how far away. So he's 30 metres. I must have walked straight past him. I think there he is. He's walking towards me now. So we're just going to skip through basically what he's doing. Well, hopefully. No, she's not arrived yet. Okay. I think she's on her way. I think that's her here. Yeah, that's her. So we're going to pick up the bowls. One group at a time. I'm going to drop her as she goes in. And then do the same again. So as you can see, the selling price is only 2, but if you were to buy them back, it would cost you 6. So okay, so on that note, we're going to just head back down to the compost bin to show you what's happened down here, and then I will call it a day for this particular video, and then start the next one. Oh, as you can see here, the flax is ready to collect. However, I need a scythe or a sickle, which I don't have at the moment, and there isn't anything local, so I'm going to have to go running around to get one of those at some point. So here's the compost bin. 391 rot, so I can take that out. It's going to make it a bit heavy for me to move, but that's fine. Go into the barn. Make up the fertiliser. And that's 39 fertiliser it's going to make up. And for now, until I've built the resource storage shed, then I'm just going to put it in the chest here. because I'm the only one that's planting at the moment, and I put the remaining rot in there as well. Okay, so that's that for now. Thank you for watching. If you liked what you've seen, then obviously click the like button. If you want to leave a comment, then also please do. And of course, there's also the opportunity to subscribe to the channel as well. Other than that, I will see you again on our next video.